Let's go through my entire collection of mythic and legendary guns. The Type 25 Horseman's Pick, such a beautiful looking gun. A tier. Type 25 Phoenix Inferno, our first legacy gun. The gold trimming on the gun is really awesome, as well as the fiery effect. Another A tier. Type 25 Magnetic Engine. Sorry guys, but this is just a C. And finally, Type 25 Bloody Vengeance. The color combo of the silver and then the animated red is just chef's kiss. I know people are gonna disagree, but I'm giving this an A. Moving on over to M16. The M16 Peacock's Cry. A very majestic looking gun. Oh, okay. I feel like I'm giving away too many A's, but I'm giving this an A. M16 Targanite 3. It's mid. This is a high C. Moving on over to AK-117. Not the AK-117 Mountaineer. This is one of the newer legendary guns inside of this game at the time I'm recording this video, but it's just so mid once again. It's a C. The AK-117 Meltdown Prestige. Guys, I don't even care. S. AK-117 Meltdown. Now, even though I do like the Prestige variant better, this is still an S tier, man. For first mythic AK-117 Grim Ending. Just the design of the gun itself looks powerful. The iron sight is super sick with this gun. I'm gonna have to give it another S. AK-117 Asir. Got like a little Nordic theme going on. It really is like a cool design, but I'm gonna have to go and give this a B. AK-117 Dazzling Rhythm. This is just such a guilty pleasure of mine. The sound effect of this gun too just goes so hard. This is gonna be controversial, but I'm giving this a very low A. Finally, the AK-117 Holidays. The nostalgia is coursing through my veins here. Maybe it is just the nostalgia talking, but guys, I'm giving this S. Moving on over to AK-47. AK-47 Moon Shadow. You got like a little time theme going on. Super underrated legendary gun in my opinion. I so badly want to give this an A, but I'll give this a super high B. AK-47 Iron Lion. I mean, the gun blinks. The gun is alive. This is gonna be a high A. Our second mythic, the mythic AK-47 Radiance. The design of the gun is really cool. The color effects that they have going on, I really do even love the magazine, but respectfully, I'm giving this an A. AK-47 Kuromaku Prestige. The Prestige variant of a gun that I wasn't really that big of a fan with in the first place. Y'all are gonna hate me for this. C. AK-47 Kuromaku. I do like this version of the gun better, but maybe like a high C. This is the first ever legendary gun that I've ever used, the AK-47 Wraith Black and Gold. It's a really simplistic design, but it just kind of works. But just for comparing this to other modern day legendary guns, I'll go and give this like a high B. Finally, for the AK-47 to the AK-47 Pumpkinhead. This is another OG legendary gun. You got the little pumpkin right there. High A. Moving on over to the ASM-10. ASM-10 Red Shadow. Got the red and the gold, a little fiery effect going on, as well as that samurai. Cool looking gun, man. I'll give this a low B. ASM-10, a Bussy Agent. You got like a little ball orbiting around the gun there. You got the red flame effect in the center. But besides that, the rest of the gun is just very mid. I see. And finally, the ASM-10 Bunker Buster. I do love busting, but this gun does not make me want to bust. I'll give it like a high C. And this is just a little bonus thing. I know we're only doing mythic and legendary guns, but this ASM-10 Burnt Bone, guys, I would love to go and give this an S, but we're only reviewing mythic and legendaries. Moving on over to the M4. M4 Iron Song. The gun itself is a guitar. Also, the death effect for this gun is just chef's kiss. Very deserving of S. The M4 Thermal Shroud. Something about the color scheme of the flame on the barrel that just goes so hard. Y'all might call me crazy for this. I think that this gun is deserving of S. The M4 Black Gold Royal. This is a legendary gun that players were able to go and get for free. For like a free legendary, it's not bad in the slightest. But just compared to other guns in my collection, I'm gonna go and respectfully give this a C. Finally, the M4 Court Jester. The color effects of the gun is really solid. Even the structural design of the gun is just wicked. But I'm gonna have to go and give this like a B. Going on to the BK-57. BK-57 Spectral Song. I want to say that this was available inside of like a mythic draw, but I'm forgetting which one. It's very mid. It's mid. I'm not gonna give it a D. I'll give it like a low C. BK-57 Flash Free. breeze. Really cool Arctic effect on the gun. I think I'm willing to go and give this like an extremely low B. Finally, the BK-57 Space Race. Super unique gun. On one side, it's like you're traveling into the depths of space, while on the other, it's like you're on a space station. For me personally, I think this is deserving of an extremely high B. Moving on over to the LK. LK-24, the Vault. I'm a massive sucker for like heist movies. You got the bank right in the front, the stick of dynamite as the ammo, as well as the bomb for the stock. This is a gun that does not get as much love. This is very deserving of an A. LK-24 Drop Shot. I think it wants to be like a space themed gun. Like, it is cool looking, but I don't know, man. Like, I'll give this a high C. LK-24 Idol Star. Guys, I'm not a weeb. Just if I attended a weeb conventions, I would probably be like, oh yeah, this is S tier, but it's just not a part of my nature. I'm sorry. Am I really gonna do this? For all the weebs out there, I am really sorry. Moving on over to the ICR. ICR Innovator. Got another little ball orbiting around the gun, but the rest of the gun just seems kind of weird. Doesn't really feel like there's any specific design in mind with this gun. I'm gonna give it a C. ICR Knockout. The more I look at this gun, man, the more I like it. It's such an easy A. ICR Sabri Blade. A massive compliment that I'm gonna give this gun is just that it looks extremely clean. But I just wish that the animated color wasn't that orange color. Maybe like a lot darker red might have went harder. I'll give this a low B. This one is so sick. ICR Forced Laughter. The eyeballs on the magazine are actively moving. You have like a gunzo looking clown with the tongue as the stock. You got the smiley face right on the barrel. Such an easy S. Going on to the Man of War. Man of War Desai Prestige. If I'm not mistaken, I think I do like this one better than the OG variant. That animated greenish color with the gold and silver. Such a cool color combination. I'll go and give this a low B. Man of War Strafing Run. A really cool jet design. You got the missiles right underneath the magazine right there. I'll give this a high B. Finally, the Man of War Desai, which right now we're moving on over to the OG variant, which to be fair, this version isn't that bad whatsoever. Like, the red color is cool, but there isn't really much else going for the gun. I'm giving this a high C. Let's check out the KN-44. We got KN-44 Dark Harbinger. This was the legendary gun inside of the Mythic Ghost Lucky Draw. In a way, it's kind of giving me Mythic AK-117 vibes, but it's just, I can't really pinpoint exactly what I don't like about this gun. It's just seems like reused, if that's the right word. I don't know. I'll give this like a low B. KN-44 Shadow's Wings. The weapon looks like a bird. You got like the talon or whatever right there on the foregrip. I mean, it's very mid. I'll give this a C. KN-44 Mystic Fox. Oh guys, y'all already know I am not a furry, but I really do love the design of this gun. Even like that blue animated color right on the magazine. Super solid. I'm giving this a B. KN-44 Dance of Death. Another really cool design. The gold and then that animated red looking color on like the magazine there too, as well as on the side of the weapon. I so badly want to give this an A, but I'll go and give it like a super high B. Finally, the KN-44 Color Spectrum. This gun is a banger. This gun is a banger. This gun is just such an absolute banger. S tier. Going on over to the HBR. HBR Rictus Arc. I don't know if I'm gonna end up enjoying these guns. Like this one, it's not bad. The structural design of the gun is pretty unique, as well as you got some like electricity going up the gun. I'll give this like a high B. HBR Lucid Sands. A cool Egyptian pharaoh themed looking gun. Like, bro, I just had to stop for a couple seconds to look over all of these unique little designs on the weapon itself. This might be crazy, but dude, I'm actually gonna have to give this like a low A. We got the legendary HBR Swarm. If you like bees, you're probably creaming your pants over this gun. It does have a nice little pay-to-win iron sight, but the pay-to-win iron sight 100% carries this weapon. This is a low B. Moving on over to the HVK. HVK Maximum Security. The overall design of the weapon, super mid, but the thing that carries is that small little kill count counter right on the side of the gun. And I so badly want to give this a B, but it has to be a super high C, man. It's just the rest of the gun, that is the only thing that carries it. HVK New Rain? I swear this is like my first time seeing this gun. Oh, it's like a cool little military theme. Like you have all those military badges right on the side there. Oh boy, like I'm really trying my best to remember what exactly this gun's death effect is. I know nothing about this. It's a cool design though. Like I'll give this a low B. The HVK Cartridge Crusher. Such a unique retro looking gun. I never even noticed this, but on the stock, there's like a vintage Call of Duty cartridge. Such a cool gun, man. Even like the little heart right on the iron sight there too. So badly want to give this S, but this is super high A. Moving on over to DRH. The DRH purebred. This is S tier, man. I don't care. This is an S tier. DRH Poised Guardian. I mean, bro, what in tarnation am I looking at? What is this gun? This is getting the D. DRH Blood Rose. Oh boy, dude, these DRHs, it's funny how we go from S tier to D tier, and this is gonna have to be another D. And finally, the DRH Wicked Claw. Another super unique looking gun. You got like the claw mark right on the side, the claw right on the magazine right there. I'll give this a B. Let's check out the Peacekeeper MK2. Starting off with the Mythic Peacekeeper artifact. I just gotta keep in mind, man, that this is one of the first Mythic guns to be introduced into this game here, so it's like the design might not be on par as like modern day Mythic guns, but still it is just, it's mid. I'll give this a B. Finally, the Peacekeeper Vivid Notes. Another legendary gun that I never even knew existed here. A really super cool, colorful, vibrant looking gun. What's crazy is that I think I'm gonna give this legendary gun a low A. Going into the FR, the FR Geo Blaster 3000. Pretty cool, like vintage, futuristic looking style. I'm not a super big fan of just the orange brownish color, but this does not deserve a C. This is like an extremely low B. Finally, the FR Super Highway. This is one of my personal favorite legendary guns. The animated color effect, as well as just the white surrounding the gun, just looks super clean. The death effect is a banger with this gun. This is S tier. The AS Val, let's take a gander. The Mythic AS Val Double Edge. Oh, dude. Okay, I look at this and I mean, like you guys know how I say like, oh my god, I'm creaming myself. This is like the exact opposite. This gun makes me want to hold in my cream. See, AS Val Knight's Howl. Cool little Nordic theme going on. I really do like the stock, as well as what, that little wolf shield right in the center. This is a B. AS Val Beijing Operatic. This one is a tough one because the closer I look at the animated color, like it is really cool looking, but just the rest of the design of the gun isn't anything special. The high C. Finally, the AS Val Steel Fusion. Y'all have no idea how badly I want to give this a D, but right, the blade is cool. You got the little dynamite right on the magazine right there. I'll give this a mid to low C. Let's check out the AMAX. AMAX Twisted Vision. Very cool. Very cool weapon. I just love the design of the gun. That purple glow effect is just so good. This is S. The AMAX Feral Tusk. This is a weird gun for me because I dislike 95% of it, but the 5% that I do like, which is that fluffy little creature, as well as the death effect, is that fluffy creature there too. Such a hard carry on the gun, but the rest of the gun is just super weird. I'll give this a low B. Finally, the AMAX Red Death. Super low key, super basic looking gun. This is a C. Moving on over to the M13. First one, Mythic M13 Morningstar. This might be crazy to say, but I want to say the Mythic M13 is probably 3 years old at this point, but this gun still holds up. Structural design of the gun is phenomenal. The iron sight is super sick. It's an S tier. M13 Risen Shadow. Super cool looking gun. The black and the purple really solid. Like that little blade on the bottom of the gun there too. This is a high B. Finally, the legendary M13 Liminal Flare. I'd have thought that there were more legendary M13s in this game, but this one is just like, I want to love this gun, but I'm not gonna force myself to go and love it. Like, I do kind of like the silver effect, but I do wish it was more silvery. Not bad, but it really doesn't stick out as like a mind-blowing legendary gun. I'll give this a low B. Here, now I'm gonna take a gander at the Swordfish. The legendary Swordfish Swordfish Kalaka Prestige. Yeah, this is kind of a banger. I kind of want to like touch those balls or like take a bite into it and have it bust all over me. Regardless, the black and purple as well as the gold, all super fitting colors. Got the little skeleton dude right on the back there too. This is a B. Swordfish Aquatic Slayer. This is banger material here. This is a banger. Like whenever I hold on to this gun, I feel like I'm Poseidon himself. It's just such a shame, man, that this is on the Swordfish. Like imagine if this was on the AK-117. Regardless, I'm still giving this S tier. Finally, the Swordfish Kalaka. It's just a more natural version, right? You got the actual bone color going for it, the skeleton right on the back there. I'll give this a B. Now let's check out the Kilo. Starting off with the Mythic Kilo Demon Song. Man, this is really weird for me, man, because it's like, yeah, the Mythic Kilo is good to go and use inside the game, especially from like a BR perspective, but nothing's really like, oh my god, this is crazy. I might be super weird. Guys, please call me a weirdo for saying this, but I think I'm gonna have to give Mythic Kilo a high B. Kilo Legion Spear. Super cool looking gladiator theme going on. You even have the helmet right on the stock right there too. The gold red combo. This is a B. Finally, the Kilo Nova Gold. Once again, I kind of thought that there were gonna be more legendary Kilos, but this one, I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for this gun. The main highlight for me has to be just the magazine, gaseous, liquid, whatever it is. The rest of the gun isn't super crazy, so I'll go and give this an extremely low B. Moving on over to the Oden. Starting off with the Mythic Oden Divine Smite. This is giving me Mythic Kilo vibes once again, in which, don't get me wrong, this gun, super iconic, at least from a BR perspective. Super, super good, but nothing's really standing out for me massively. I'm gonna have to give the Mythic Oden a high B. Finally, the legendary Oden Grip to Chaos. This gun definitely had some massive potential, but I think that little ball right in the center, it just looks super out of place in my opinion. I don't want to give this a C. I really don't, but I'm gonna have to give it, I'm gonna have to give it a low B. It's a low B. Let's take a little gander at the Krig. Got the Mythic Krig 6 Ice Drake. Now these are bangers, right? At least comparing this to the Mythic Oden, the Mythic Kilo, this one actually has a little bit of life behind it. The design is that of a dragon, and then you have the ice coming out of the gun. Got the wings right on the side. This is deserving of a super high A. Finally, the Krig 6 Slick Chrome. This is giving me that same exact vibe from that AMAX with the little like character on the back of the gun, in which 95% of this gun, it just is kind of like mid, but then you got the character on the back, which kind of saves the gun. But I don't know if it's really the same case here, because I'm kind of thinking a super high C. Let's check out the EM2. Starting off with the Mythic EM2 Eclipse Phaser. This is once again another Mythic gun, in which I feel like this one actually has some soul behind it. Iron sight for the gun is super cool. There is a whole lot of specialty effects. You got like a little satellite there on the stock. This Mythic gun also has the best inspect of all time. I'm gonna have to give this a high A. And finally, the legendary EM2 Pineapple Crush. Now guys, if this was a fruit ranking video, I would go and give a pineapple like an S tier, but just the weapon itself, I mean, it is cool with all the pineapple stuff going on. I mean, I'll go and give this like a super high B. Going on over to the Maddox. The Maddox Squash Demon. I've never really been a fan of this gun. I gotta be honest, like that little thing on the side just comes off as super cheap for me. This is a D. Finally, the legendary Maddox Avalanche. It's supposed to be a snowmobile design, but just something isn't complete with this gun in my opinion. I'm gonna sound super weird here, but I'm gonna have to give this a high C. Let us go and check out the FFAR. Kicking everything off with the Mythic FFAR Bright Blade. I have not said anything for the past 30 seconds. I've been trying to collect my thoughts, forming an opinion. It's just, I think this gun, in a way for me, falls into that same Oden Kilo camp. The gun looks cool, I will give it that, but I want more. I know this gun does have some really cool effects with it, but it's just the design of the gun. I just want more. I'll give this a high B. FFAR Pharaoh's Words. Now this one is cool. This one actually has that spirit, that soul that I want out of a gun. You got the Pharaoh right there on the back. really cool color design. The gold is super sick. I'll give this a super high B. Let's go and check out the Grau. Starting off with the Mythic Grau Phantom's Core. Oh boy. Oh, okay, dude. Why is it like I thought Mythic guns were all bangers, but now it's my mind is open. The iron sight for this gun is solid, but just the rest of the design of the gun, maybe I'm just being way too harsh right now. This is like a low B. And finally, the Grau Burned Soul. This gun feels like there could have been so much cooler stuff going on with it. A cool little dragon structure for the gun, but just seems like it's missing something. I'll give this a super high C. Moving on over to the Groza. Oh, there is no legendary Groza, or maybe I just don't own one. Let's check out the Type 19. Starting off with the Mythic Type 19 Celestial Ink. This is easily one of the most unique guns inside of this game. It has to do with like the artwork. It just doesn't feel like it's supposed to be inside of COD Mobile. A lot of people are probably gonna say, Parker, this deserves S tier, but respectfully, I'm giving this a super high A, which is still really good, man. Moving on over to the BP50. Starting off with the Mythic BP50 Ion Eruption. I would say this is a pretty cool design for a Mythic gun. I'm trying to go and pinpoint exactly what I like about it. Something about the stock kind of feels weird for me, but that whole middle section, something about that circular design, it's hard to go and put into words, but I really do like this gun. I'll give it a B. And finally, for the assault rifles, we have the lag, but there is no legendary or mythic lag. So now we're getting into the snipers, starting off with the XPR. This is the XPR Pale Thunder. Right away, I'm getting massive Mythic Type 19 vibe. Not a bad gun, right? You got a little animal right on the barrel right there. I'll give this like a B. Finally, the XPR Broken Will. Super clean, slick looking gun. I love the purple gold color combo, as well as that little crystal right on the muzzle. I'm gonna have to give this like a really high B. Now we get into the Arctic 50. Starting off with the Arctic 50 Foxfire Prestige. This is the Prestige variant of a pretty OG iconic gun. I'll give this like a low B. Arctic 50 Zodiac Beast. Now, wanna love this gun. You got the beast right on the back there. The silver and blue combo is kind of cool, but it's just the gold coloring is kind of throwing it off here for me. I hate to give it this review, but maybe like a super high C. Legendary Arctic 50 Venetian Scope. Oh, the black is really cool, as well as whatever that textured red on the grip and then stock is really cool. The mask on the gun is also really solid, bro. I might have to give this like a high B. And finally, the Arctic 50 Foxfire. This is the OG here, man. This is such a super iconic, nostalgic gun. I'll go and end up giving it a solid B. I think I'm paying enough respects for this gun. It's just not anything super over the top. Now we're moving on over to the M21. This is the legendary M21 Rising Ashes. I mean, I guess this is supposed to be like a motorcycle, I'm assuming, but it just, the rest of the gun doesn't really seem to fit that motorcycle theme. It's a super high C. Like, quickly, okay, this is the epic M21 Grim Gold. I would rather prefer this gun over that legendary variant. Now we're taking a gander at the DLQ. This is the DLQ Advanced Artillery. Guys, when I look at this, I see utter garbage. This is a piece of trash. It's a D. The DLQ Base Booster. I've never been the biggest fan of this gun, but I can appreciate how the whole weapon is covered in that blue color scheme. It is a really smooth, clean looking gun, so just based off that factor alone, I'm willing to go and give it a super low B. This does not deserve a C. Daddy has arrived. The Mythic DLQ Lotus Flame. Guys, I think we can all agree it's an insta S tier. It's just everything from the iron sight of the gun, the overall design, the structure of the gun, the inspect of the gun. It's just a banger all the way around. DLQ Dark Void, another sniper for me, in which just the structural design, super slick. A lot of people think that I like the legendary skins that are super colorful, which I guess is true, but just something about this sniper, I really do love it. I'm gonna have to give it a low A. The DLQ Zealot. You got all these bones around the gun. You can go and see that little skull right on the mag. I'll give this a solid B. And finally, finally, the DLQ holidays. We went and gave the younger brother the AK-117 holidays the S tier rating, and guys, I'm gonna have to go and give this one an S tier rating. Moving on over to the Locus, starting off with the legendary Locus Electron. It's another gun for me in which it's just super cool. It's super unique. The scope of the gun is really cool. The structure is so minimalistic. Like, dare I say, this is S tier. The Locus Metal Whiskers. There is a cat on the weapon, as well as, I guess, the overall design is supposed to be that of a cat here too. There's the cat ears on the scope. Guys, I'm not that big of a cat fanatic here, so y'all might hate me for this, but I'll give it like a low B. Locus Demonic Breath. It does not feel right for me to go and give this sniper this rating, but I'm really thinking a super high C. It's just, I don't know, something seems off about this gun here for me. Finally, the Locus Neptune. Such a cool gun, man. First off, you have the little shout out to Ghost right on the stock. The scope of the sniper is that of like a scuba diver, and then you have like the little oxygen blue tank on the side. There's bubbles emitting from the gun there too, and then the muzzle barrel's supposed to be like a little spear. This is an S. Let's go and check out the NA45. Legendary NA45 Lycanthropy Prestige. Oh boy. I don't know really what I'm looking at. I'm gonna give this a C. Then finally the OG NA45 Lycanthropy. I do like this version better than the other one, but what, it's probably gonna be a high C now. Let's take a little gander at the Outlaw. This is the legendary Outlaw Treasured Sand. Love it. This gun, the serpent on the back as well as the serpent up front. B. And finally, the Outlaw High Noon. A cool little cowboy themed sniper. I want to say that I bought this within the past year or so it wasn't featured in my other video, but I'll give this a really, really low B. Moving on over to the Rytec. This is the legendary Rytec Nito Ryu. Oh, that's super cool with like the lasers coming out of the gun there, right? Y'all see that with the blue? I really like the animal right on the scope there with the mouth open, the magazine with that blue design. I'll give this a high B. The mythic Rytec Natalius. There's pretty much two designs of this sniper. There's this design here, which is not bad, but then when you add the explosive mag, it turns into this icy color, which in my opinion is significantly better. I think I'm gonna have to give it a super high A. And finally, the Rytec Gilded Porcelain. It is what it is. The face right there on the gun, I guess, is kind of cool, but I don't know. Not a bad sniper, so probably like a super low B. Moving on over to the SVD. This is the legendary SVD Toxicant. Super basic design. I do like the color of purple that they have for this, but it's gonna have to be a really high C. And finally, the SVD Admiral Star. This is a banger here, bro. It's supposed to be like a military navy ship. You got the anchor right on the magazine. The anchor's on the side there too. You can kind of see the full front deck. Oh, even the propeller right on the back there too on the stock. It's such an easy A. Moving on over to the Babushka. This is the Koshka Wonder Gear. And oh bro, no, I mean, this is just sloppy. This is slop. It's a mess what I'm looking at. It's a D. This Koshka Immortal Embers just looks significantly better. Let's take a gander at the ZRG DRG Ticket to Hell. Another kind of basic looking sniper, not anything overly crazy, just a very basic C. And finally, the ZRG Coffee Craze. I really do respect this gun. You have the little espresso coffee maker right on the stock. It even says coffee for the mug right there. The ammo also says sugar on the side there too. I mean, it is a really cool design. I'll give this a really high B. Now checking out the HDR, the legendary HDR Persuasion. I think it's supposed to be like a scuba diving themed item, but it just all kind of seems sloppily put together. I'm sorry guys, I'm I'm gonna have to give this maybe probably the first super high D. And finally for the snipers, the Tundra. This is the legendary Tundra Crimson Jaw. I don't think I ever realized this, but it's supposed to be a Little Red Riding Hood themed item. You got like the big bad wolf right on the back chasing. I want to say that this was probably released the last Christmas. It is a pretty cool, unique looking gun. I'll give this a really high B. I just want to quickly get these guns out of the way. Moving on over to the Marksman's Kilo Bolt Action. This is the Kilo Scarlet Shot. This one actually isn't that bad in the slightest. I do like the candles on the back, as well as the iron sight too. Looks kind of unique. I'll give this a low B. The Kilo Railgun. Guys, in my opinion, this might be the worst legendary gun. This is by far, I think, the worst legendary gun that I have witnessed so far. D. Moving on over to the SKS. This is the legendary SKS Watcher. I think this gun did have massive potential, but they kind of ruined it with like the whole midsection of the gun. I don't know, man. Maybe they could have developed more of that animal that was right by the barrel there, but I don't know. And I hate to be a hater because it is kind of cool and colorful, but I think I might give this a super high C. The legendary SKS Particle Splitter Prestige. Oh, ew, bro. Okay, once again, bro, I'm ill. I'm ill looking at this. It's just a D. The SKS Death the Land. Kind of a minimalistic looking gun, but I really do love the structural design. This is very deserving of a B. The SKS Luminary. Really cool structural design. Once again, it's almost given me the Locus Electron types of vibe. It's not as colorful as that gun, but I think I'll give it a really low B. And finally, the SKS Particle Splitter. This is the OG variant, which I would say is better, but it's still going to be a really low C. Checking out the SPR. This is the legendary SPR Primo. This weapon just came out at the time I'm recording this video. It says spare parts right on the back. Oh, that's supposed to be like a skateboard? I think this gun is supposed to resemble that of Junk. Like, I'm not even trying to go and be mean. It just, everything seems so out of place. I'm willing to go and give it a really, really low C. And finally, the SPR Counter Spy. Once again, this is just utter garbage, guys. I'm really sorry I'm having to showcase these foul weapons to you. It's a D. Finally, the MK2. The MK2 Helix Grade. This is just so bad, man. This is really bad. This is bad. It's a D. Now let's get a little spicy. Starting off with the HS2126. There is no legendary variant. Maybe the BY15? The BY15 Boba Blaster. This one is a banger. You got the squid sucking in the boba balls right out of the can. My mind is saying, oh, hey, Parker, give it a high A. But no, dude. My soul is saying S. And I'm going to go and give it an S tier. Now let's check out the HSO. This is the legendary HSO Song Stress. Really cool minimalistic design. Once again, I love the colors of the gun. I think this one is really deserving of an A. Is there a legendary striker? There is no legendary striker, but I mean, like, bro, look at this variant, the Death, the Spiral one. It's not animated, but it still looks cool. This one is super cool and unique. Now checking out the KRM. This is the legendary KRM Loaded Glitch. Oh, I'm such a sucker for this gun. I'm such a sucker. I know the death effect is super cool. Retro video game style type of gun. Really high A. And finally, the KRM Glorious Blaze. Structural design, super unique looking, super clean looking gun. The flames coming out of the weapon there too. The red gold color combo. This is S tier. Checking out the Echo. This is the legendary Echo Natural Causes. Bro, I remember having so much massive regret when I initially bought this gun. It's just, it's so bad. It's a D. Now this is the R9. This is the legendary R9 Hopper. This is so cool. This is so cool. You got the foamy beer as the stock. The barrel is an actual barrel. This is so cool. This is so cool. It's an easy S. Now let's check out the Jack 12. This is the legendary Jack 12 Molten Mirror. No, I'm not gonna give this weapon any types of respects, man. It just seems like it was clumsily put together This is a D. And then finally, the Argusy. The legendary Argus Carmine Flare is a pretty cool legendary gun. I love the dragon as the stock. Something about the overall structural design, I low-key like it. I'll give this a B. Now we move on over to the LMGs, starting off with the S36, which I don't own any legendary variants. I know that there is that legendary S36 Heartbreak or whatever the official name is. I don't own that, man, and that is a massive regret that I have. Let's check out the UL. This is the legendary UL Electric Light. I want to say that I bought this in a 4U lucky draw. It gives me massive ray gun vibes. I'm gonna give this a really low B. The legendary UL Depth Charge. This is my guilty pleasure, man. I know a lot of people are automatically gonna dismiss this gun, call it utter garbage, trash, give it a D rating. The iron sight, I think, is super cool and unique, even though there isn't really that much other stuff going on for the gun, right? Like the little chopping thing right on the barrel right there. It's kind of lame, but it's just, I swear, the iron sight is what carries this gun for me. I hate that I'm doing this, but I'm giving it a bottom of the barrel B. Moving on over to the RPD ski. Legendary RPD Mahogany Shooter. Oh man, I look at this and yeah, right, there's a turtle on the gun, but it doesn't really look like a turtle. The color of the gun is just really weird. I hate to say this, but it's just such a D. RPD Yellow Jacket. I don't know what it is, but I was never really a massive fan of this gun. Like, I'm willing to give it a low C. I'm not going to give it a D. Finally, the RPD Practical Joker. This one is a banger. I want to say that it was inside of like a Gunzo lucky draw. The flashing colors is really cool. I'm willing to give this like a really low B. Let's take a gander at the M4 LMG. The legendary M4 LMG Micro Nuked. I instantly know what my rating for this is going to be. This is such an underrated weapon here too, in my opinion. The death effect is really solid, but you have like the skull with the gas mask on the gun. This is a really high A. Finally, the M4 LMG Salamander. Another gun in which I was never a really massive fan, but it's just there was only one legendary M4 LMG for just such the longest time. I'm gonna give this a bottom of the barrel C. Next gun is gonna be the Chopper. The legendary Chopper Hell Dog. It's supposed to be a dog and then a chainsaw looking thing at the same time, or like a motorcycle. Such a sick looking gun, especially with all the flames coming out of it here too. This is a really high B. Finally, Chopper Rules of the Game. This was inside of the Saw collaboration, so I want to say that kind of makes this a super rare item. Just to look at the jiggly foot mechanics here for this. You got the active saw blade on the back. Y'all might not like this, but I'm giving it an A. Next weapon is going to be the Holger. Starting off with the Mythic Holger Dark Frontier. The best way for me to go and describe this gun, it's really graceful. I do like the structural design. I like how the barrel just is constantly moving, as well as the color choice for the gun too. I'm willing to go and give this a really high B. The legendary Holger Jack-o'-lantern. It is kind of a cool Halloween themed legendary gun. I felt like they could have went a little bit harder in the design, like making it be a little bit cooler. The more that I do look at this, the more I am open to giving it a higher rating, so I'm willing to give this just a solid B. And finally, the Holger Risen Deep. I don't know what it is, man. It's a weird looking gun, but it's just the magazine reminds me of that of Honey, and that little hose. It's like I want to grab it and then B. Moving on over to the Hades. Hades Void Sender Prestige. I don't know, like a C. Hades Serpentine. Dude, once again, high C. Finally, the Hades Void Sender, the OG. This is a very low B. Let us check out the PKM. Starting off with the legendary PKM Red Nose Revenge. This gun is just so cool, man. There's so many small details. Like, you have the elf hanging off the Christmas tree right on the muzzle there. Then going into the barrel, it's that of like a reindeer. Then going into the magazine, right, you have the present, but there's bullets inside of it. There's the snow globe as the iron sight. Then the sled is the stock. It's just such a high A. Let's take a wee gander at the dingo. Starting off with the dingo Scarlet Oracle. Something about this gun that I like it, but I also really hate it at the same time. I don't know why. I'm willing to give this a bottom of the barrel B. The second to last LMG, the Bruin MK9. This is the legendary Bruin Deadly Strings. It is a really unique looking gun, right? The main design is supposed to be that of an arm sticking out in like a gun form. Something isn't fully doing it here for me with this gun. I'm willing to give it a really low B. Finally, the legendary Bruin Moon Bruiser. This is a really basic looking legendary gun. The flames are cool, but it's just not anything extraordinary. I'll give this a really high C. Finally, the MG. Starting off with the MG42, the campaign. There is quite literally people fighting on a gun that you are actively using in game to go and fight other people with. It's insane. This is obviously an S tier weapon. Now we're getting into the SMGs, starting off with the Russie. This is the legendary RUS Holiday Lights. Guys, this is just a complete ripoff of the OG legendary Snoop Dogg gun. I'm not really that big of a fan that COD went and did this, and it's really hard for me to go and separate those two guns, so I think I'm just gonna give this like a C. The legendary RUS Custom Job. I could be so wrong in saying this, but I want to say that this is supposed to be like a custom PC type of build theme, right? Like you got the ram sticks right on the back of the gun. It is kind of a sloppily put together weapon. I'm gonna go and give this a high C. The legendary RUS Equalizer. This is the OG Snoop Dogg gun. I feel like by me giving it this low B rating, it is paying a lot more respects to it. Like, it is a pretty cool themed gun. And finally, the legendary RUS ZX7000. Gotta say, this gun is such another like guilty pleasure of mine. I will give it a bottom of the barrel B. Now let's check out the Chico. Oh, there is no legendary Chico. What about the Peter W? PDW Glass Slicer. The one thing I'm not a super big fan of is just the rat on the stock. I think if that wasn't there, no joke, I would give this an A. But I'll go and give it like a really high B. Next one is the PDW Battalion. This is an absolute banger. The death effect for this gun, you are turning your enemies into a tank, but just the overall aesthetics, right? You got the toy soldier on the stock right there, the tank on the back. You know what? I'm giving this S tier. Finally, the legendary PDW Toxic Waste. I was never the biggest fan of this gun. I'm not gonna give it a D. I'll go and give it a really low C. Next one is the Razorback. Starting off with the legendary Razorback, Boreal Aegeus. It is mid. This is the very definition of a C tier gun. And finally, the legendary Razorback. I really like this. You got the missile that's constantly circling the gun. I'm getting massive, like, Russian vibes from this. I'm willing to go and give this a super low B. Moving on over to the MSMC. Starting off with the legendary MSMC Space Station. This is another really OG legendary gun, but just based off of modern standards here now, I'm gonna have to respectfully give it a really low B. Let's check out the HG40. Legendary HG40 Ghoul Bound Prestige. I swear, man, these three colors, the gold, the red, and the black, are just all so perfect together. I'm willing to go and give this a low B. And then the OG HG40 Ghoul Bound. Gotta say, I really do like the Prestige version better, but at the same time, right, that color of green is still kind of a cool little color. This is gonna have to be a bottom of the barrel B. And finally, the HG40 Gold Standard. I think I got this gun recently, and it's just something about it, like the wood on the stock, and then this like futuristic white and blue color combo. This is another super low-key favorite of mine, so I'm willing to go and give it just a straight solid B. I don't know, is there a legendary Pharaoh? There is the legendary Pharaoh Submarine 008. I mean, this gun is a submarine. It's a pretty cool themed gun. I would say B. Let's go and check out the GKS. Starting off with the legendary GKS Mystic cards. This design is super, super sick. I'm a massive fan of playing cards in general. The constant ticker on the center banger of the gun is really cool. Dude, this is gonna have to be a really low A for me. The GKS Wanderer? Oh boy, okay, guys, I am really sorry. This is an insta D. Finally, the legendary GKS Tactical Unicorn. This was another legendary gun, which I recently went and purchased, and what more can I say? This is such an easy S tier. Moving on over to the Cordite. Starting off with the legendary Cordite 0G. This is, once again, another very OG nostalgic legendary gun, which I was not able to go and purchase right away. This is another recent purchase, but I still think it is really, really cool. I'm willing to give this a really low B. Now checking out the QQ9. Starting off with the legendary QQ9 Melting Point. I look at this gun and I just see utter perfection. It's so simple in the design, as well as it's no over-the-top animation going on. Maybe this is just nostalgia taken over, but I'm gonna give this S. The Mythic QQ9 Dual Kinetics. Really cool design, right? You can see the color shifting on the gun happening, going from that black to white. The overall purple color of the gun is really cool. This is really deserving of a super low A. The QQ9 Albatron. Another legendary gun that I wasn't really ever that big of a fan of this gun. I'm willing to go and give it like a really high C. The QQ9 Sigrun. Another Nordic themed weapon. I do like the creature that's near the stock right there too. Really compact. The color combo going on for the gun is really solid. I'll give this a bottom of the barrel B. And finally, the legendary QQ9 Moonlight. Another really just mid type of weapon. I am willing to give this a all the way at the super tippy top of C. Take a gander at the Finnick. Starting off with the Mythic Finnick Ascended. Please correct me in the comment section down below if I am wrong, but I want to say this is the first Mythic gun of all time. Really clean pay-to-win iron sight, and I gotta say, even though this gun is probably over 4 years old here at this point, this gun still does kind of hold up. This is a solid A. The legendary Finnick Scintillant Scale. I really do like this. The dragon is really cool. All the colors, the gold, red, black. I'll give this a high B. The Finnick Corrupted Light. Super unique structural design. The iron sight is also really unique. This is a high B. And finally, the Finnick Venom Coil. Oh, bro, this gun is not deserving of a low B. I'll give it a super high C. Moving on over to the AGR. The legendary AGR Durandal. I think the sound effect of this gun does kind of go hard, but just the overall aesthetics isn't really doing it here for me. A high C. Legendary AGR Durandal Prestige. I had no idea that this gun even had a Prestige variant here. I'll go and give it a high C. AGR Ripper. What's that other gun that also had that little knife in the front of it there? It's giving me the same exact vibe, but oh man, another high C. Checking out the QXR. Starting off with the banger legendary QXR Fossil Fire. Such an easy S tier. I want to say that this gun specifically is within my top 5 favorite legendary guns of all time. The overall design. Finally, the QXR Secret Santa. The number one thing that I love about this gun is the death effect in which you're turning people into small little elves or like minions. But the overall aesthetics of the gun really doesn't do it for me, so I'm gonna have to give it a really high B. Going into the PP Bison. Starting off with the PP Bison Iconic. They could have done a little bit more with this gun. Like, if it had a better structural design, I would have easily gave this an A, but I think I'm gonna have to give it a really low B. The PP Bison Oath Defiant. Seems like COD could have went a little bit harder with this gun, especially if you want to encapsulate like everything that Mythic Templar is, but I'll give this just a solid B. PP Bison Jingle 55. If Christmas was a gun, this would be it. You got the little, oh bro, look at the little balls. You got the snowman smoking on a pipe. I don't even care at this point. This is S. Finally, the PP Bison Homebrewed Hex. First glance, I thought this gun was kind of weird, but the more I'm looking at it, I am kind of digging it out. I'll give this like a low B. Checking out the MX9. Legendary MX9 Exostatic. Mid. This is, you know, it's not even mid. It's kind of garbage. I'll give this a D. The legendary MX9 Heartless. This is such an easy S tier gun. I love the detail, just the overall vibe, super menacing. Finally, the MX9 Heartless Prestige. I don't know what it is. I think this would have been a perfect gun if it wasn't for the gold. Like, typically I would love the color combo of the silver, the blue, and the gold, but it's something about that dragon figure being gold that just kind of seems out of place for me. I'll give this a really high A. Checking out the CBR. Starting off with the Mythic CBR. Moby has always been a really weird Mythic gun for me. I hate to do this because I know I'm going to get roasted in the comments, but this is a really high C. CBR Gator Gold. This gun is that of an alligator. There are some things that I'm not really that big of a fan with, like that little bird that's in the mouth of an alligator. I kind of feel like that's out of place, but the death effect with this gun is just so solid. I'm willing to give this a really high B. Finally, the legendary CBR Lattice. Really cool, unique design. The blue, the overall structural design of the gun is super neat here too. I'm gonna give this a really high B. Moving on over to the PPSH. First one, the legendary PPSH Combustion. This is another massive guilty pleasure. I love the colors going on. The gun itself is looking slick. Not going to be an S category. I was so tempted to go and do it, but I'll give it a really high A. PPSH Holiday Workshop. Oh, this is another really cool Christmas themed gun. It's going to be wild because I know a lot of people are saying at this point that I'm probably simping for the Christmas holiday, which I am. Bro, call me crazy. I'm going to go and give this an Insta S. And finally, the PPSH Emberwing. This is definitely a really weird looking legendary gun for me. I'm willing to give it a really high C. Moving on over to the MAC-10. Starting off with the legendary MAC-10 Atomic Star. This is a certified banger. I don't know if this is supposed to be like an anime related skin, which if it is, at this point, like, bro, call me a straight up weeb because I'm giving this S tier. MAC-10 Lily of the Night. Pretty sure that this weapon, even though it is a legendary gun, does have like a custom inspect associated with it. I don't really know if I fully understand what this weapon is supposed to be all about, but I think I'm gonna give it a really low B. Finally, the legendary MAC-10 Dragon's Might. Just such a simplistic design, but it really does get the job done. The gold dragon and then that glow effect that it has right behind it. This is gonna be a solid A. The KSP, there is a legendary KSP. Divinity is the name. Just so basic, man. It's an insta D. Moving on over to the Switchblade. Starting off with the Mythic Switchblade Neon Legend. I'd love to hear it in the comment section down below, but does anyone else get fish vibes from this gun, especially towards like the bottom there with those moving little scales? Regardless, really cool iron sight. Just the overall design of the gun is really sick. I think this is really deserving of an A. Let's check out the Lappa. Lappa number 35. Now that this is a collaboration legendary gun, but I don't really have that much personal sentiment towards it. I'll give this a really high C. Going into the OTS. Legendary OTS Male Brunchy. This is another banger. This is such a banger of a skin. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go and give this an S tier rating. The Striker 45. Starting off with the Striker 45 Sharp Fin. Got a little shark. I mean, the entire gun itself is that of a shark. Just feels like they could have done something a little bit more. And maybe that's a wild take to go and have, but I think I will give this a solid B. Now going into the CX9. Starting off with the legendary CX9 Vibrant Ashes. At first I was gonna trash this gun, but just looking at it more, the gold and black color combo does look sick. You're kind of getting those same effects from the Mythic Type 19. I'll give this a really low B. The Mythic CX9 Lethal Hollow. I was willing to give this an S tier rating, but the only reason why it's getting the rating of a super high A is just because of the constant blabbering, the yapping that this gun will go and do. It's a super majestic looking gun. I love everything about this, from the color, the overall design of the gun, the little bird that's flying around. Just cannot stop talking. Only 2 more SMGs left. The Tech 9, legendary Tech 9 Film Noir. I guess if you're a big movie nerd, you're probably falling in love, because I think it is supposed to be like a projector, but I'm just personally gonna have to give this a C. Finally, the ISO. Legendary ISO Fueled. It is a pretty bright, vibrant looking gun, super compact. I wish the overall theme was done a little bit better, but I'll give it a bottom of the barrel B. We're done with all the primary guns, now going into the secondary. Starting off with a J358, legendary J358 heavy-handed. I was about to go and give this a D rating. The only thing that I love about this has to be the whole holographic iron sight, but still it's gonna be a bottom of the barrel C. Checking out the GS Calamity. Something about just the stealthy appeal of this gun that really does it here for me. I'm giving it a bottom of the barrel B. Moving on over to the Renetti, the legendary Renetti Metal Phantom. This is quite the banger. Just that face on the back. Overall design is super cool. Very deserving of a super high A. Checking out the Shorty, legendary Shorty Last Resort. Pretty sure that this was available inside of the legendary Ghost Lucky Draw. You do have the Ghost logo on the side right there. Bro, you know what? I don't even care. I'm still gonna give it a D. Checking out the crossbow. Crossbow kinetic electricity. COD could have done a little bit of a better job with this gun, but overall it is still kind of a cool futuristic looking weapon. I'll give this a bottom of the barrel B. Let's check out the L-Car. Legendary L-Car Industrial Pulverizer. The number one thing here for me with this gun has to be the structural design. They could have done a better job with all the colors working for this gun, but just based off the overall design, I'm gonna give this a really low B. I have not used this gun in such a long time. The Dobra. This is the legendary Dobra Lights Echo. Dare I say, this might be the best legendary pistol of all time, man. It's gonna be an insta S tier. The nail gun. I completely forgot that this gun existed. Legendary nail gun Dark Experiment. Pretty certain that this was available inside of the legendary Richtofen Draw. To be fair, like, it's not a bad gun, man. I might be so wild for saying this, but I'm gonna give this a really low A. And finally, the machine pistol, another gun that I never even knew existed. I completely forgot about this. Legendary machine pistol, a luminous fragment. This gun was almost there in terms of the overall design. I think it's really deserving of a bottom of the barrel B. Moving on over to the melees. The chainsaw melee for me has to be a really high A. The legendary Dark Heart, I completely forgot about this one, but I think I'm willing to give it a really high B. Legendary Cali Sticks, full Egyptian theme going on. I love the color combo. Really high A. Legendary Size Rare Divinity. These are also really cool. I don't think they're deserving of S tier, but I'll give it a really, really high A. Legendary Spear Striking Azure. It's just so mid. This is really high C for me. And finally, the launcher. Legendary Thumper Surprise Party. This one is really cool, coming from the legendary Gunzo Lucky Draw. I love the gritty design of this gun. I'll give it a solid A. And guys, that's it. Thank you for watching.